Everyone who has come to the sawmill and who has read the newspaper articles, they all believe that I just gave up. Well, let me tell you something. After 16 years of running a business, I did not just give up. I gave up for a specific reason.
They make the laws to suit themselves, the ones that buy and sell. The rest of us down the river.
This is the actual sawmill building where this lumber is stacked right here. That's where my mill used to sit right there. And all of my logs used to actually be out here. Then they would get rolled into the mill to be cut. It was a very small operation. You can see I have a little chop saw underneath my deck here. And that is where if some people wanted some lumber cut to a specific size, we were able to do that under this building here. Once the logs were cut, you would have a pile of slab wood. That is the material that came off the sawmill after I cut the log into boards. We had people that would come and take the slab wood. They use it for camp wood. So if you just follow me out this way. Hey, Chip. I can show you my four-sided planer. You'll have to excuse the mess. But this little setup here, it planes all four sides of the board at once. You can see that there are four heads in here. You have one which planes the bottom. You have one that does one side, one that does the other side, and this big one here, that does the top. This is one of our products that we make, or made, I should say. This is a V-notch tongue and groove. That's just one of the many things that we could make on the four-sided planer. Okay, now you could see some of our bags of shavings. This is what we have very little left of. This is one of the products that we used to sell to try and get people to come in. And on this side over here, you can see all these little pieces of kindling. We used to bundle up in a square, and we used to sell that for, starting fires and whatnot.
I was just going to ask him how his chickens are doing. He takes the shavings of chickens. He's got happy chickens.
We have a resident cat. You see he's not out here today. But we have a stray cat that has become a resident for the last 5 or 6 years, I would say. Even after all of this time, I still cannot get more than probably 4 or 5 feet from him. And he'll wait for me to open the can, I'll put it down, he'll go, and when I leave, he comes back. He won't come with me standing there. If you wanted to see how the planer worked, or if you wanted to see how the sawmill worked, you could come and watch. I only charged a nominal fee. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was all free. You could come and watch just as long as you stayed back a safe distance and you wore your hearing protection and your eye protection. You were more than welcome to see anything that I did. Some of the different profiles that I can use, for making tongue and groove. I can make shiplap, I can make beadboard. There's a lot of potential for things in that drawer right there.
The rest of us don't need the touch of taking more than just enough to get by down the river.
Yeah. Somebody needed something, we did our best to get it to them. We put out good quality lumber, so Greg got himself a good reputation by doing good work. We thought we were doing a service to the community, but apparently not. The code enforcement officer felt apparently that we were hindering his authority.
Come on in and have a seat. This is actually a statement by the town board. According to the board members, the town has taken every possible measure to resolve the sawmill issue without taking legal action. They tried to work with the family and come to some compromise. All other remedies have been exhausted, so therefore they filed a lawsuit against my father and I. We were in full compliance from the time we got that special use permit to the time we went to court and I decided to give up. We were in full compliance with everything that the town wanted us to do. In 2001, my father and I decided to start a sawmill business. I got to work with my father every day. But anyway, when we first got to the mill, we were told by the town that we had to get a special use permit to even keep my mill on the property. So we went through all the proper channels, got our special use permit, and that's where we stayed for 16 years. I grew a clientele. It was a wide variety of clientele who really needed my business, and that helped me succeed. There used to be 35 or 40 piles of lumber out here that were already stickered. Once that was dry, we would move it over to the front yard, which is where we would sell it all. But there were a lot of times that we couldn't even keep it in the yard. People wanted it before it was even dried. I had many a fine day meeting people in my office. There are several people that I would rather not see again, but very few out of the hundreds that I ever met. In 2008, the town decided to take and change the laws and not allow any sawmills in Saugerties. So what that did was it meant that if you wanted to start a sawmill business in Saugerties, you could not do so. Since how I started in 2002, there was no problem. I was supposedly what they call grandfathered in. Anyway, the planning board decided to take and rescind our special use permit without ever telling us until 2017, when a couple of neighbors started complaining about the noise and the fact that I had grown into a somewhat very small but lucrative business. But if you want to follow me out this way, I'll take you out to our back 40, as they might say. You can see some of our logs back here, which this was also part of my log yard. Complaints were sent into the town. Number one, by my neighbor on this side, who doesn't like looking at all of the slab wood and the logs. You could see the wooded area here behind us, behind all these logs. That's the way all of this property was before they came here. First thing they do is change the whole landscape, and they cleared all of their land. But now they're looking right at us, and then all they do is start complaining that they have to see us. Actually, I am the one that was hired by my neighbor to clear the land. We got along great with them. I mean, I helped them plow their driveway. I gave them lumber, which he has totally reconstructed the inside of his building. We were great neighbors.
Neighbor, he just was from New York City, and I don't think I need to explain any more on that. He moved up here to retire in the country, and then he's going to make all these changes for the people that lived here all their lives. Of course, my oldest son didn't help the cause any.
My brother, the major complainee, and the major reason as to why I am no longer in business, he lives in that big house over there. He's been here 14 years and only started complaining about things 1 year ago. He has a portable sawmill. He is what they would quote as a hobbyist, but I do hear him on several occasions running his own mill. The last page of complaints that my brother emailed to the town was a culmination of 10 complaints, all of which were untrue. We have 3 files here of paperwork, and he says an industrial wood chipper running 7 days a week. First of all, I do not own a wood chipper. 18-wheelers picking up orders, that is completely ludicrous. We have had one 18-wheel truck here in 17 years. Untrue, made up lies. He has never come to my father or myself complaining, saying, why do we have to do this? Can we change this? Can we work this out? Nothing along those lines. He has always gone to the authorities and done everything backwards compared to the way family should work. My brother was complaining. I ran the business 7 days a week, before hours, after hours. Our yard hours from Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, and that's pretty much what I did. You know, we had some logging trucks come before and after 5, but how can I stop that? They're on their own schedule, they're not on mine. When we were given our special use permit, we were given guidelines that we had to follow. We were only allowed to run the business Monday through Saturday, 8 to 5. We weren't allowed to mill on Sunday. I don't want to work on Sunday, but unfortunately, there's certain things you have to do, obviously, to maintain your house. We were simply told by the building inspector that if I want to mill material for myself, I can do that at any time. My brother was saying that I totally disregarded the special use permit. He does not decipher the difference between the fact that our business is at the same place as our residence. He actually compared us to an industrial sawmill. We only have 2 people here working at this sawmill, myself and my 85-year-old father. Now, how you can consider that to be an industrial sawmill, my brother is simply challenged.
Just cleaning up.
The town decided that we were in violation ever since we moved from the big parcel of property to the small parcel. My father and I bought 32 acres. My parents bought a house, a pre-manufactured house, and the bank made them subdivide the 32 acres into a parcel that's 4.5 acres and 27.5 acres. My parents put their house on the 4.5 acre piece. Down the line, it was my mother's wish to give my brother a piece of that 27.5 acres that was left. Once I signed off on the deed for this to happen, I moved our sawmill operation over to my mother and father's piece of property, which was still all part of that 32 acre parcel that we had originally bought. That's it for setting it up. Now all we need is some logs and we can get going. The special use permit that was given to us in 2002 was on that 32 acres. It was still the same piece of property. So therefore, We were told by the building inspector that the special use permit went with the property. So therefore, we had no issues. The number should have just been changed. But unfortunately, our town could not figure out how to do that without spending, well over $6,000 in 15 months of my father and my time. I don't understand the town. The complaints were only made a year ago. The town, 8 years earlier, decided to rescind our special use permit. At that time, they should have informed us of doing so and that we needed to get the proper permits at that time, not 8 years later. When my father and I bought this piece of property in 2001, the first thing I told my mother and father was simply the fact that my brother was to never have anything to do with it. I'm 54 years old, and for 54 years I have never gotten along with my brother. We've never seen eye to eye on anything. I believe, honestly, that my brother is trying to get to me and ruin my life for whatever reason. I don't fully understand.
It would have been nice if the town could have cooperated with us instead of running us around in circles. But that's just not going to happen, I guess. We didn't do anything that really required any, law enforcement to come and knock at the door.
I don't know why the town sides with people who complain. I had been there first. I was in business providing a service for my community, helping out a lot of people, loggers who brought me material, contractors, homeowners, just everyone in general who actually came to me and bought material. It's rare that you find sawmills like this anymore. I mean, I would think that the town would stand behind me and back me 100%.
I love what Greg does. I love the wood, but I also just love what gets built with it. All the cool stuff that people build are so beautiful and simple and all wood. Far superior to any of the material that they're building with nowadays. I always go to Home Depot or Williams or all these places and it's just like picking through the pile. No. At Greg's, I can just trust, like, you could actually know where it comes from and it's good material. You can bring him logs if you want. You're part of the process, and you actually learn if a piece is no good, you learn why.
Anyone can do anything if they're shown how to do it. All you have to do is be willing to work, willing to show up, when you need to show up. And I could show you anything. I had 3 gentlemen in particular, and I actually taught them how to run the sawmill. And after several months, they actually became very good at that. Now that is just another skill set going down the road in life that they could use, as a job. When we were notified by the town that we were in violation of the special use permit, we were told by the town board of a process that we had to go through to apply for a new special use permit. We had to attend meetings, which cost $75 to $200 every time you went. And my father went probably half a dozen, maybe 8 times to each one of these meetings. We had to have a new site plan done for our property. That, I believe, cost almost $5,000 for that. More permits ensued. Oh, you need to get this permit now. That's $200. That permit means nothing, but you have to get it anyway. 15 months of political pressure by our township telling us that we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to do that, of which we did everything. We did everything by the book that they wanted, whether it be a permit, a site plan, a survey, whatever they asked for, my father provided.
I spent over $5,000 just getting the site plan and going to this meeting, and it cost $200, go to this meeting, $75, and then every time you turn around, you go to another meeting and it was more money. And I just, yeah, they took my little nest egg and kind of depleted it, but, more government to keep you broke. That way they can control you.
This is the new draft of the special use that they were going to give us on the piece of property that we have now. Not much different than the special use permit that they had gave us in 2002 on the other piece of parcel. 3 weeks after we were given this rough draft of the new special use permit, we were told by the town that they were not going to be doing anything further with the special use permit because the town was suing us. Now, we still don't quite understand where they're getting this lawsuit from or what they're suing us for. There are several steps before a lawsuit, which the town just decided to look over and go simply from a town meeting right to a lawsuit. At the last town meeting that we attended, we were told by everyone on the planning board to just keep right ahead, go the way we are, keep running the business. So, doing what the town told us to do, we just kept working. We went to the town to get a building permit to put up a building. Anyway, the code enforcement officer, building inspector, said that he was not going to give us a permit for the building because we were in litigation with the town over trying to get this special use permit straightened out. Well, I took it upon myself to put up the building anyway. The building inspector decided to show up and give me a stop work order, at which time I stopped working on the building. Well, it was a couple weeks later, my father had called the town to find out about our special use permit, and he was told that we were being sued by the town because we were in violation not only of the stop work order for the building, but a stop work order that was issued, they say, the town was issued a year and a half earlier for my sawmill, which we never received. When we were issued our lawsuit papers, the town outright said that I was in violation of the stop work order for the building because I did not take it down. Now, anyone who knows anything about a stop work order, it means stop working. It doesn't mean stop working and take the building down. Once I received the stop work order from the building inspector, I stopped working on the building. For the mill, they say that we were in violation of a stop work order, which we were never given. It says one was prepared, but we were never given a stop work order. And we were also told by the town board to just keep right on working. So they are contradicting their words in telling us to keep working when in fact they should have told us to stop working.
Just like the Indian said, he talked with forked tongue. We don't. The town had something obviously against my son and I, and he just got fed up with all the baloney and the backstabbing and what have you, so.
When the building inspector came here and he gave me my stop work order on the building, I crumpled it up and threw it to the ground and told him to leave my property. He's not welcome here anymore. He told me I could not do that, and he took that personal, I'm sure, and he imposed 100% of his authority to put all the pressure that he could from the town and the town lawyers on us to put us out of business. I did not know that a building inspector in any township has absolute power. So therefore, if the building inspector tells you or tells anyone that this is how you have to do it or you can't do this, that's simply the way it is. And for one person who is not elected by the town, the people of the town who is not elected, it is absolutely ridiculous that one person has that much power.
Now far away the memories of simple days remaining, and I'm broken hearts down the river.
I'm sure they come to a lawsuit over the fact that I hurt the feelings of the building inspector in telling him that he does not have the right to walk all over me like he thought he did on my property, and that I am still a free man and he cannot impose his will the way he was doing. Yes, he can impose his will, but not the way he was doing. Your property that you pay taxes on every year to keep and maintain is not yours. You can't do what you want to do. You have to give the authorities, as they say, money. That's all they want is money. And that right there completely destroys any rights of freedom that you have. It's just not right. And I don't see any end in it. They want you to have a permit to do anything. Whether it's put up a deck or me run my business or someone put a driveway in their property, they want a piece of the pie, and it's all about money. And unfortunately, these people in these positions, they're the ones that make the rules. And until we get people in these positions who don't think that way, we're going down. We're all going down. When we were said and done, the town spent, like I said, well over $6,000 of my father's retirement money, which we'll never get back. When they decided to sue us and we went to court, they had every intention of getting more money. And I just simply wasn't going to let it happen. That was my cue to give up.
He just folded it up and said, that's enough. No sense in aggravating themselves anymore. Done the best we could, and it didn't work out. So, but what are you going to do? Grin and bear it and keep moving on. Now I'm going to be without a job. I'll have to go mow neighbors' lawns for something to do,
I believe that Preston wrote 3 articles on us. They made us look like we were the bad guys, that we were doing everything wrong, and that the town was doing everything right. And that's just simply not the way it is. There's 2 sides to every story, and no one heard our side of the story. And even when I told my side of the story, the press never even got it close to being right. It states that we are unwilling and uncompromising to work with the town and to straighten out the special use permit. How can they sit there and say that when the last thing that we received from them was this new draft of the new special use permit? How can they say that? They say that we were unwilling 100% to work with them, when in fact, it's the other way around, where they were 100% unwilling to work with us. Now, the final The final newspaper article that they wrote against us says that after 15 months of legal struggle with the town, Greg and Douglas Weeks have decided to close down Greg's Custom Sawing on 186 Patch Road. The court order instructing the father and son business to remove all illegal structures on site and sell and remove all milled wood has been issued. It was not the town's intention to have the sawmill discontinue, but to comply with zoning and provisions of the special use permit, said town building inspector. The Weeks sawmill operation has expanded on the small lot way beyond the dreams of Greg and his dad Douglas. Now, I always thought that when you started a business, any business, that is your purpose, is to grow and succeed. But by that statement right there, he is simply stating that he does not want you to succeed. He does not want you to expand. They want you to stay under the thumb of the authorities imposing their will on us. I couldn't take the complete lies that they were coming up with. They just make up the rules as they go along. They make you out as the bad guy, the one who's in violation, just simply because they changed the rules. And when you change the rules in the middle of the game, nobody wins. I could prove all of the allegations against me were absolutely false. But we are simple people. We have simple money. We don't have the money to fight corruption. And unfortunately, that's all this is corruption. When we went to court, I decided to just give up, knowing that the lawsuit would be dropped and it wouldn't cost my father any more money. Whether or not I'm going to regret that, I really don't know. I honestly wish that I could have kept doing this because it gives my father something to do. But for me, I'm done. I'm done doing this. They had taken all of the joy, all of the love that I had for the job that I had done for so long, all of the people that I got to interact with, meet, help, just took all the wind out of it. Now, once we have been put out of business by the town told us that we have to take this entire building down and turn it back to the original ground that was here. You know, it's just going to be a vacant piece of property right here, that's all. But if you head down a little farther, you can see this other big building with the tarp on it. That was supposed to be my kiln, a building that actually dries lumber. That also has to be taken down because we're not allowed to have that building either. My little storage shed there, that also has to be removed from the property. This also all has to be removed from the property and turned back to its original state, which no logs, no slab wood, none of that. So this will be turned into grass again. Just like a lot of other things around here will be turned back into grass again. Dump about 10 loads of topsoil in there, and then I'm going to put my food plot in there for my deer. So once we get
Greg's
that going,
pets.
that's right. They're going to be my pets and my neighbors' enemies. In a short period of time, we're out of business. Now I have to take and reconstruct my life. Where this leads me, I have no idea. When it comes to me closing up the business, I'll be broke after 18 years. I don't have anything to show for it. We were totally destroyed by 2 or 3 people. My life was turned upside down. And to be able to complain over something that is totally irrelevant and ruin someone's life, it amazes me. And then you have a township that backs up the people that complains instead of a business who's providing a service for their community. It's just completely sad that all freedom that we once had is now gone. Our lives will be a thing of the past.
Little ones we love, our faith in blood and God above. They will last forever down the river. Down the river, pray for one another. And down the river, we hold on to our dreams. Down the river, the hard times makes us stronger to get by. Leave this world behind. Down the river, down the river, the hard times makes us stronger to get by.